Summer was coming to an end on the island of Sodor. Many people were at Norambi beach. They wanted to eat some ice cream, but the ice cream saleswoman told them that she's out. So she telephoned the fat controller and he promised to send for Thomas. "Ah, there you are, Thomas. Listen, we need to make more ice cream," said the ice cream factory manager. "You must go and get the cream, the chocolate and the strawberry." Thomas was very sad. "Cheer up, Thomas," said his driver. "If we'll deliver it all in time, you can still take some children." Thomas set off. He collected the cream from Sodor Dairy and hurried to Farmer McCall's farm. Thomas had a very long journey ahead. Thomas traveled to Elsbridge Junction and he saw an engine approaching. It was James. He was taking the children to the seaside, and Thomas wasn't. "Hello, Thomas," said James. "I see you're pulling trucks and not coaches. Ha 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 ha, I'm not surprised." Thomas traveled on and on until he made it to Farmer McCall's farm. "Please, guys, load me quickly. It's an emergency." "Thank you." Thomas set off. Now he was to collect some chocolate. Thomas was so fast that he ran onto Sudbury Junction instead of the main line. "Bother," he said. Then Thomas reversed back and continued to the main line. Thomas arrived at the chocolate factory. "Please, guys, load me as quick as possible," he said. So the workmen loaded him, but the brakes were on and Thomas pulled hard and hard and hard. "I have to hurry," he said. But then there was trouble. "Oh no, I'm covered with chocolate. Please, guys, clean me and load me again." At Kildane Station, Thomas met James, who was taking on some more passengers. "It's not fair, James. How come you take the passengers instead of me?" "That's simple," said James. "The fat controller remembers as you derailed the coaches at the difficult bend, or as you left the tuba player behind. So he doesn't want to risk any more incident like that. Goodbye." This made Thomas very sad. He delivered the ingredients. "Ah, there you are, Thomas," said the manager. "Now I need you to deliver the ice cream to the Norambi beach." Thomas was very sad. He didn't think the ice cream would get delivered there on its own, but he wanted to take some children. "Oh, hello, Percy. Why are the children cheering?" "Why, Thomas, they're cheering for you, of course. You delivered them the ice cream, and on time." "Wow, and I wanted to give them a ride to the beach." "Well done, Thomas. You've been really quick and really useful. But you worn your parts. Tomorrow will be a flower festival at Mateway. I wanted to choose you to take a very special cargo there, but I will choose another engine instead of you. But you've been really useful today, and we all appreciate it. It's a very hot day today." That night, Thomas talked to the other engines at Tidmouth Shed. "There will be a flower festival at Mateway on my branch line tomorrow," he said. "I have heard of it already," said Gordon. "No, you haven't," said Thomas. "You have heard it just now." The next morning the fat controller arrived. "Thomas, I need you to go to the steamworks to have your worn parts mended. And Percy, you are to go to Brandon Docks to collect a special cargo and take it to Mateway Station. And Gordon, since you are not on a duty right now, you are to pick up Alicia Botti and take her to the Mateway Flower Festival, okay?" "Yes, sir," said the engines. "Good," said the fat controller. Percy puffed away. When he arrived at the docks, he found out that the cargo was just a carpet. "I hear it's a magic carpet, me hearty," said Salty, but Percy didn't believe him. Percy puffed away, looking very sad. At Lower Sudbury he met Gordon. A carpet, is it? No wonder the Fat Controller chose a small engine that is just good for shunting coaches. By the way, how come you not fetch me my coaches, Percy? Percy hopped onto the main line. He saw Murdoch, and his carpet started to lift in the air and landed on Murdoch's truck. Wait, Murdoch! Come back! It's mine! But Murdoch didn't hear him. Murdoch, wait! You stole my carpet! Murdoch passed through Merron Station just when James was taking on passengers. Help! Cried Percy. Murdoch has got my magic carpet! There's no such thing as the magic carpet, laughed James. Shut up, said Percy. At least I didn't once bang my coaches. Percy continued on, and then he saw that the carpet has left Murdoch's truck and landed on Henrietta. Toby, Henrietta, stop! Come back! Oh, it's not an emergency, is it? Come on, Henrietta. It's just a prank, I think. No, maybe it's not. Percy is behind us. Percy met Toby and Henrietta at Kelsthorpe Road. The carpet landed on a track just when Thomas was approaching. Oh dear, groaned Percy. What shall we do? He's going to destroy that carpet. Please, carpet, lift off. Thomas passed through and the carpet landed on the flatbed. Well done, said Henrietta. Phew, but I'll be late, I suppose. Maybe I shouldn't have wasted time like that. Percy's driver tightened the carpet. You won't be late, said Henrietta. No, I won't, said Percy. Percy arrived at Maidway Station just as the Fat Controller was there. Sir, I know I'm late. It's not my fault. Say no more, Percy. It wasn't your fault. And you made it still on time. Gordon hasn't arrived yet. We'll unload the carpet from your flatbed. Phew, said Percy. Just then Gordon arrived with Alicia Botti. Mi amici, let me declare this flower festival open! Hooray! Cheered the engines. That night, all the engines were laughing at Percy's story of a magic carpet. And guess what? Said Gordon. The Fat Controller says that tomorrow I am to have another special job, to pick up someone from the USA. Wow. The next morning, the Fat Controller arrived at the Machets. Gordon, I need you to go to Brandon Docks and pick up Mayor Quimby and show him around Sodor. And you can even show him the Flower Festival at Maidway Station. And Emily, you're to pull the express today. Yes, sir, said Emily. Good, said the Fat Controller. Gordon wasn't very happy. Express is a very responsible job. Don't worry, Gordon. I think Emily will manage it. Yes, sir, I will. I'm a big engine. Ha, said Gordon. You only have big wheels. Big wheels don't make engine big. Of course they do, said Emily. And I can manage. I am as good as you, Gordon. I am even as fast as you. Goodbye. Emily chuffed to Knapford Station. She was very excited. She had never taken the express before. Emily thought that she is as good as Gordon, and she chuffed with the express through the countryside, but she left the brake coach back at Knapford Station and wouldn't even bother to go back for it. While Emily was pulling the express, Gordon had arrived at Brandon Docks to pick up Mayor Quimby. Hello, Mr. Mayor, you're from Shelbyville, aren't you?
Now wait just a minute. We're twice as smart as the people of Shelbyville. Vote Quimby.
Emily met James at Crosby Station. James was taking on water. It's my turn now, James. Let me go. Be patient, said James. Expresses don't wait. I don't want to be the slowest engine in the world, she said, and she chuffed on and on. Emily was worried. She didn't want to be the slowest engine on the island. She wanted to be fast and good as Gordon. She thought that's what the express is about. Emily stopped at Sudbury Junction. Edward was meant to go first. Hurry up, hurry up! This is the express! Edward wished he would be as fast as the express. At last, Emily was able to go on. She was very excited. Finally, she can go to Lower Sudbury station. Emily was to pick up passengers from Bertie the bus. Bertie was late, and he even flattened his tire. Luckily, his driver saw Butch the breakdown vehicle and asked him to pull Bertie to a garage to get Bertie mended. Thanks goodness, said Bertie. Emily is waiting for me at Lower Sudbury. Butch towed Bertie away. Emily was at Lower Sudbury, waiting very impatiently. Where is that Bertie? I don't want to be the slowest engine in the world, and it's not even my fault. I'll forget. I'll go. Meanwhile, Gordon brought McWimby to Knapford and was very shocked.
You idiot! You idiot! Your department's broke!
Then the Fat Controller had an idea. I think I've got the perfect solution.
You better, because those men won't work for free!
Excuse me guys, said James, what's this all about? About Emily, said the Fat Controller. I think she misobeyed me. Could you take me to her, please? Yes, sir, said James. Meanwhile, Emily was on Edward's branch line when she suddenly ran out of water. Then James brought the Fat Controller. Emily, boomed the Fat Controller sternly, you should have waited. You left the brake boat at Medford Station. Wouldn't wait at Crosby Station until it's your turn to take out on water. You left Bertie's passengers stranded, and you even made McWimby angry. I don't know how could that happen, sir. I just got very excited. Well, Emily, pulling the express isn't as easy as you think. Besides, now I need an engine that would take a goods train. It needs a lot of patience. Can you do that? Can you, Emily? Yes, sir. I can learn to be patient, sir. Please give me a chance, will you? Okay. James will take you to the water tower and coal hopper. Then you will take a long goods train from Knapford to Vickerstown. So, James was coupled up to Emily, and she took on coal and got coupled to the trucks. But the trucks didn't believe her. Emily pulled them out of Knapford Station. She was very happy. I can learn to be patient. I can. At the signal, she met Thomas. Hello, Thomas. I'm learning to be patient, but I wish I could learn faster. Good for you, Emily. And besides, do you know that it's going to be Halloween soon? Yes, I wonder who will be chosen to take a goods train at Halloween night. Gordon was very angry. He had to pick up the forgotten coach and now his own express. What a disgrace it was. Emily arrived at Vickerstown Station. Mayor Quimby was there. He was stern.
You idiot! Your department's broke!
Go back to New Jersey.
They don't even know what state we're in.
That night Gordon was very mad at Emily. Emily, I'm ashamed of you. What have you done to my express? People were laughing at me. I'm sorry, Gordon. I couldn't help it. Yes, you could. You are very impatient indeed. The Fat Controller should have chosen me. The next evening, the Fat Controller arrived at Didmouth Shed. Emily, since you're now patient, you and Thomas can both take the pipes to Brandon Docks from the smelter's yard. Yes, sir, said Emily. But Percy was worried about his friends. Thomas and Emily set off. Harry and Bert were looking forward to play tricks on 2 steam engines. They couldn't wait. Really. Thomas and Emily were on their way to the smelter's yard. Just think, Emily, how silly would it be to believe in ghosts? I don't believe in ghosts, but I am a little bit worried, Thomas. Of what? Said Thomas. There's nothing to be afraid of. Harry and Bert were playing with trucks. They liked scaring steam engines. Emily arrived on a turntable. Then something happened. A big sail fell on Emily, and she was so scared that she chuffed away, and so did Thomas. Even Harry and Bert was scared. "Help! A ghost! It's got me!" groaned Emily. "You idiot! What have you done?" said Bert to Harry. "You did it on purpose, didn't you? You were supposed to wait if you wanted to scare Emily with that sail." Harry and Bert were arguing. Harry was supposed to wait. Seconds after Emily stops on the turntable, she would then reverse. Then the sail took off. The Fat Controller arrived at Tidmouth Sheds. All the engines were awake. "Harry and Bert, do you two know something about this?" "Yes, sir. It were both of us." "In that case, as a punishment, I want you both to go to the smelter's yard and collect the pipes on your own." Yes, yes. "Now, engines, you can all go to sleep." "Excuse me, sir," said Thomas, "but I'm not sleepy. Could I do some job here?" Harry and Bert were arguing with each other. They were cross with each other. Whose fault it was that Emily was scared with that big sail? "It was your fault." "No, it wasn't." "Yes, it was." "You are idiot." "No, you are." "Shut up." "I hate you." "No, you shut up." "Excuse me, sir, but I'm not sleepy," said Thomas to the Fat Controller. "In that case, Thomas, I have a job for you. There's a train of coal trucks waiting at the coaling plant that needs to be taken to Brandon Docks. It can wait until morning, but if you do it now—" "Yes, sir," said Thomas, and he set off. He was coupled up to the trucks and set off to Brandon Docks. Thomas was very excited. But soon Thomas got tired of pulling a long train. The next morning he returned to Tidmouth Sheds. Gordon and Henry were there. They saw how tired Thomas was. Then the Fat Controller arrived. "I need an engine that would take children to school, chickens to the market and sheep to the farm," he said. Thomas was very tired, but he decided to do it himself. "You might need help, Thomas," said Gordon. Thomas was coupled up, and off he went. Emily was worried. Thomas was awake all night. He would be tired, and she was right. Okay, sheep to school, children to market, and Emily was very worried. Soon it would be the inspection day, and Thomas wasn't very useful. Well, he was, but if you take my meaning. Thomas collected the sheep from the sheep field. He was still tired. So, sheep to school, children to the farm, and whatever. Yeah, like that, something. Emily was looking for Thomas. She wanted to tell him that he's doing it all wrong. Thomas collected the children from Elsbridge Station. Next, he would have to drop some of his passengers at the next station. Emily wanted to find Thomas before it's too late. Thomas arrived at Wellsworth Station when Emily arrived next to him. "Thomas, do you need any help?" "No, Emily," said Thomas. "Tank engines don't need help. So, children to the farm, chickens to school, and sheep to the market." "Unload the sheep, please," said Thomas. So they did, but it was a mistake. Thomas was making his deliveries, but all wrong. Later, the Fat Controller received one call behind another, and he was very cross. Thomas had done all the deliveries wrong. He arrived back at Tidmouth. "Thomas, what are you doing? You're causing confusion and delay. Now, Edward and Percy, I want you to help Thomas deliver chickens and sheep where they belong." And so they did. The next day the Fat Controller arrived at Knapford Yard. He had an important announcement to make. "Today a railway inspector is coming to this railway." The engines were very curious, especially Percy. "What is railway whatever?" "Railway inspection," said the Fat Controller. "It means that the inspector are checking if you are working properly. So the engines all set to work. Thomas and Percy were very excited. They started shunting coal trucks. Even Emily started to work. She was also very excited. Thomas and Percy delivered their coal trucks and started to work at the quarry, but Thomas wasn't careful. "Oh, now you're not going to win," teased Percy. Thomas arrived at the washdown, but James was already there. He was polished, and he enjoyed it. Thomas was very upset. He wanted to get washed, but now he couldn't. Thomas and Percy shunted their trucks at the docks, and Thomas returned to the washdown. Emily was there. She was very shiny. Thomas and Percy continued working when they saw the railway inspector. Then Thomas returned to the washdown, but Gordon was there. "I'm going to win the first prize, but you're not, Thomas." Thomas was very upset about hearing this. "No, you won't, Gordon." Later, Gordon, Emily and James gathered at the coaling plant. They were looking forward for the inspector to arrive. James backed up, but he shouldn't have done that. A coal dust landed on all 3 engines. The railway inspector arrived, and when he saw this, he was shocked. "These engines are very dirty indeed." Then there was trouble. Gordon covered them all in coal dust. Thomas and Percy arrived, and they looked very shiny indeed. "You two are just what an engine should look like," said the inspector, and he gave them each a first prize ribbon. "I'm glad you made me come to the inspector," said Percy to Thomas. "Oh, it was nothing," said Thomas. "I can't wait to show this." Later, Thomas saw Caroline, and he told her about it, but Caroline said, "What did I tell you? Do not piss me." Thomas was very upset about hearing this. He started to cry. "What's the matter, Thomas? Caroline made me cross. She said, oh, you know what, that I'm pissing her, but I wasn't." "But Thomas, it's not a reason for you to cry." "Yes, it is," said Thomas. "That silly car. How come Caroline says such a thing?" Percy was very cross after he heard this, but he had made a plan. He was going to revenge Caroline for offending his friend like that. "So, driver, will we take her to the steamworks tonight?" "Yes, Percy, but be quiet or she will hear it." Okay, so what did Caroline do? That night Percy arrived at the steamworks. "Hello, Victor, this is Caroline. Listen, she told Thomas something very ugly, so I want you to revenge her." "Yes, Percy, my friend. So, what shall I do? I mean, what shall I paint on Caroline's door instead of her name?" "Listen, Victor, you will paint this on her door," said Percy. The next morning, Thomas met Percy at the junction. "Hello, Thomas. Last night I took Caroline to the steamworks, and look what Victor painted on her door." Thomas and Percy were very excited. Caroline's door read, "Stupid Flanders." Thomas was very excited. That would serve her right. And even Homer Simpson was going to start to call her
Stupid Flanders.
That night there was a huge storm on the island of Sodor. Branches were blown on the rails from the trees. Thunders were heard, and even Farmer McCall's barn lost its roof. The next day the Fat Controller arrived at Tidmouth Shed. "The last night's storm has done a lot of damages. I want you all to be really useful and to fix all the damages," he announced. The engines were excited. They were sure that they would all make most journeys. So they all set to work at once. Emily was told to take some timbers from Bickerstown and take them to Farmer McCall's farm. Farmer McCall was going to fix his barn. Thomas arrived at Merron Station, where he met Farmer McCall. Farmer McCall had some crate with eggs that he wanted to deliver, all over Sodor. Thomas was very excited, but he wanted to make more than just one journey. "And remember, Thomas," said Farmer McCall, "go slowly." Thomas set off, but he didn't want to go slowly, he wanted to go fast. Emily was excited. She liked delivering wood, but then she saw Trevor. "Hurry up," she said. "I'm come. Wait." Trevor was clearing a log from the truck, and finally Emily took off, but she didn't thank Trevor. Thomas was going as fast as he could. But it was dangerous, and Thomas didn't care a bit. Thomas was looking forward to do more journeys. At Kildane he met James. "Now, Thomas, I'm on my second journey, and after this I'm to pick up some workmen from Brandon Docks and take them to Vickerstown." Thomas was very sad. Everyone did more journeys than one, but him. Thomas was very upset indeed. How come everyone made more journeys than one but him? Meanwhile, Emily was in a hurry. "I must get this timber to Farmer McCall as fast as I can," she said. But there was no way Emily could go any faster or get to the farm quicker. Then she saw Elizabeth pushing a fallen water tower from the track. Hurry up, I'm in a hurry." "Not as long as you ask like that," said Elizabeth. This made Emily very upset. Then Thomas arrived. "Hello, Emily. Have you tried to ask Elizabeth nicely? Unless you do, she won't push the water tower from the tracks, will she? By the way, what are you doing here?" "I'm delivering this timber to Farmer McCall's farm," said Emily. "But Elizabeth won't let me go through." "Of course she won't," said Thomas. "Ask nicely." "I'm sorry, I was in a hurry," said Emily. "I'm not going to boss you around. Please, could you push this water tower from the track?" "Of course," said Elizabeth. "Thank you," said Emily. "I'm going to ask nicely like that from now on." Elizabeth pushed it and Emily took off. From now on, she wanted to ask nicely. "Oh, Farmer McCall, I didn't break all the eggs, did I?" "No, Thomas, you broke only one crate of eggs, and not all the eggs were broken. Only some eggs are broken." "It's okay, I think we can go on." Thomas was delivering his eggs when suddenly he heard a whistle. Someone was behind him. It was James. "Hurry up! I'm in a hurry," said James. "I'm taking my workmen to Vickerstown." Hurry up, will you?" But Thomas didn't care a bit. Sometimes going slow is as good as going fast, he thought. I wonder if Emily has learned her lesson already, said Thomas to himself. Meanwhile, Emily had finally arrived at Farmer McCall's farm with her team. That evening the Fat Controller praised all his engines. "Well done," he said. "You have been all really useful indeed." "Excuse me, sir," said Thomas, "but I made only one journey. I delivered eggs, and I broke a crate of them." "Thomas, it's okay. You broke only one crate, and Farmer gave me the broken eggs for dinner. I like them, and you didn't do it on purpose now, did you?" The next morning, Emily was working on Thomas's branch line with Thomas. She had decided to tell him what he's doing wrong. "Thomas, stop talking to those children. You're at work. You'll get delayed," she said. Thomas was very cross. He was taking on water, and he liked talking to the children. Bossy Emily, he thought. Later, the Fat Controller arrived at Didmouth Shed. "A heavy snowfall is coming, so I need you all to wear your snowplow." "Excuse me, sir," said Emily. "Thomas has already left." "Then can you tell him that Sir Topham had wanted him to have his snowplow on? Yes, sir. Emily met Thomas at Mateway. Thomas, you need your snowplow. But Thomas wouldn't listen to her, so Emily repeated it. You need to wear your snowplow, she said. But Thomas wouldn't listen to her. But unlike him, Annie and Clarabelle could well remember what happened the last time Thomas refused to take his snowplow, and Terence had to pull him out of the snow. Now Emily was looking for Thomas, and she thought Thomas would be in big trouble now. And Emily was right, Thomas was in trouble. He was stuck in very big snowdrift right ahead. Thomas was very sorry that he wouldn't listen to Emily's advice. Then he heard a whistle. Someone was coming. Thanks goodness, said Thomas. Help is on the way. Thomas didn't realize that the engine who was coming to help him was Emily. Thomas is in trouble, he thought. Thomas was very cross when he found out who it was. Oh, Emily, it's you. Yes, it's me, said Emily. You should be sorry, said Thomas. I am sorry. Sorry that you didn't listen to my advice. Now you see why I told you that you must wear your snowplow. Emily rescued Thomas and pulled him to the steamworks. Thank you, Emily. Oh, it's so cold. You're welcome, but you should have listened to my advice in the first place. If you had listened to me, this wouldn't happen to you now, would it, Thomas? Yes, I am very ashamed, Emily. You are a good friend indeed. Now I'll take you to the steamworks, Thomas, said Emily. And indeed she did. Thomas and Emily had arrived at the steamworks. Thomas was very ashamed. Well, 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 said Victor. You refused to take your snowplow, haven't you? Yes, Victor. If only I hadn't refused it. Emily, why didn't you tell Thomas that it was my idea? I'm sorry, sir. I forgot to do it. I know. That means I have two engines who don't listen, don't I? Excuse me, sir, it's all my fault. I wouldn't listen to Emily's advice, but I should have. Exactly. Now, Thomas, I want you to clear all the tracks on Sodor. That would be fair, only. Thomas hated working with his snowplow. It was very uncomfortable. Silly snowplow. I hate it. I wish there was a law against snowplows. Thomas, no, don't you remember what happened the last time you refused to take your snowplow? I don't care. But Thomas, you have to use it. It's for your own safety. Thomas was too cross to listen to his coaches. He had to plow and he hated it. But thanks to him, no train was late and all the engines ran on time. The engines were very grateful to Thomas, so they had decided to prepare him a thank you party at Lower Sudbury. And since Lower Sudbury is on Edward's branch line, Edward told Emily to take a huge Christmas tree there. And remember, keep a secret in front of Thomas. I will, Edward. Okay, said Emily. Emily was very excited. The engines then told the Fat Controller, who had telephoned to the signalman who operates Sudbury Junction. He had told him to let Emily pass, but not Thomas. Yes, sir, said the signalman. I will. Percy was at Mateway Station when suddenly he saw Thomas. Thomas had been very busy. He saw that Percy's trucks are covered with something. What's that? He asked. Oh, nothing out of your ordinary, said Percy. You have a secret in front of me, don't you? Then he saw Harold and Toby. And remember, said Harold, don't tell Thomas. Don't tell me what? Are you guys having a secret? Percy was on his way to Farquhar. He was very excited. Now he was to take some last decorations from there and take it to Lower Sudbury. Percy was very excited, and Thomas isn't going to know it, because then it wouldn't be a surprise. Percy arrived at Farquhar Station, and he saw a decoration on the platform. That must be it, he thought, and he was right. Percy's guard loaded it to his brake van, and Percy took off. Emily collected the Christmas tree from the shunting yard. She was very excited. She met Thomas at the junction. "What's that? Is it a part of the surprise?" "It's for me to know and for you to find out," said Emily. Thomas was very cross. He had decided to follow her, but Thomas had no chance. The signalman changed the points, so Thomas couldn't follow Emily now. "Bother," he said. That evening Thomas arrived at Tidmouth Shed. His friends were there, and when they saw Thomas coming, they had decided to be quiet about the surprise. "Why does everybody know about it except for me? That's it. If you guys want to know the secret, keep it." The engines were sad. Then Harold bustled up. "Harold," said Edward, "please, could you find Thomas? And we're preparing a surprise for him at Lower Sudbury. But don't tell him. Just find him and tell him to pick up some children from Wellsworth." "Right," said Harold. The engines had told him what to tell Thomas, and Harold took off. Harold was looking for Thomas when suddenly he saw him on a lonely siding. Thomas was very surprised. "There you are, old chap. Your friends are looking for you. I was told that you're to pick up some children from Wellsworth and take them to Lower Sudbury." Children! Thomas liked going passenger trains. "You mean they do like me still?" "Of course," said Harold. Thomas was very excited. He collected Annie and Clarabelle and stopped at Wellsworth Station. Annie and Clarabelle were very excited as well. The children climbed on board, and Thomas took them to Lower Sudbury when he saw the huge Christmas tree. Thomas was very excited. "So my friends do like me, they just didn't want to spoil the surprise party for me, and Thomas was right." The next morning the Fat Controller arrived at Tidmouth Shed. "James, I need you to deliver coal to all the stations on Sodor. The heatings have broken down, so the passengers would be cold." "Yes, sir," said James, but Gordon was cross. "It's just a coal," he said. "But I'm keeping the passengers warm," said James. "It's very important." "Not as important as my express," said Gordon. But James didn't think so. James set off to take on water. But there was a long queue, and James had to wait. "Hurry up," he called to Thomas and Percy. "Wait your turn," said Thomas. But James wouldn't wait. "Important engines don't wait," he said. He got coupled up to the trucks, and they were very cross with him. "Who's he to start complaining?" they groaned. James didn't listen to them, and he started off, even without taking on water. James was very proud of his important job, so proud that he wouldn't bother to stop at the nearest water tower. Instead, he just puffed on. At Knapford he met Edward. "Thank goodness you're here, James. I am to take some empty trucks to the quarry. Could you help me, please?" "I can't," said James. "I have an important job to do." Edward was sad. James was making his way to the next station. He was very proud of doing an important job. He liked feeling important, like all the engines. Then something happened to him. James had run out of water on the main line. This was a disaster. Then Edward arrived. "Edward, thank goodness you're here. I need to push to the water tower." "Sorry," said Edward. "You wouldn't help me with my trucks, so now I'm running late with my coaches." But Edward was kind, so he told the signalman to call a help, and that James has run out of water near Gordon's Hill. "Okay," said the signalman. I'll tell the Fat Controller right away. Thank you, Mr. Signalman. That's kind of you. The Fat Controller soon received a call from the signalman. James has run out of water near Wellsworth. I'll send Salty to give him a push right now. And he arrived at Brandon Docks. Salty, James has run out of water near Gordon's Hill. You are to go and give him a push to the nearest water tower. Right away, sir, said Salty. James was happy to be pushed by Salty. Me hearty, why didn't you wait until your turn? I had a very important job, said James. Yar, no job is more important than helping another engine, said Salty. James knew Salty was right. He was very proud of him to be pushing him down the hill. Now I'll get you to the water tower. Finally, James's tanks were full again and he was able to go on his way again. James was very ashamed that he wouldn't wait his turn in the first place. Then he saw Diesel. Diesel had broken down. James remembered what had Diesel once done to Duck, but he had decided to help him anyway. Diesel didn't know why is James doing that for him. Neither did James. He just wanted to help another engine because Salty had told him that no job is more important than helping another engine. And even Diesel is an engine. He may not be as kind as the other engines are, but James decided to help him anyway. James left his trucks at Crowden Gate Station. Thank you, Diesel said, but what did you do that for? No job is more important than helping another engine, said James, and he returned back. He collected his trucks at Crowden's Gate and puffed on to Vickerstown. Finally, James arrived at Vickerstown Station. Edward was there. Well done, James. So the Fat Controller did send you a help after all. I told the signalman to tell him. You did? Okay. And the Fat Controller knows that you refused to take on water, but he also knows how you pushed Diesel to the Diesel Works. Wait, how do you know? I met Daisy, and she told me she saw you pushing Diesel. Oh, did she? Said James. Oh, that's good. The next morning, the Fat Controller arrived at Didmouth Sheds. Percy, I need you to go to Knapford and pick up some empty trucks and take them to the smelter's yard. Yes, sir, said Percy. James, I have heard that you refused to wait your turn at the water tower and help Edward. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir, said James. But I have also heard that you delivered the coal and even helped Diesel. Just then Duck arrived. He had also heard what James had done for Diesel. Hi, James. Is it true that you helped Diesel yesterday to the Diesel Works? Yes, I did, Duck, and I'm very proud of what I did for Diesel. How could you? I hate Diesel. Remember the last time he once told tales about me to the trucks? I know, but I have decided that no job is more important than helping another engine. Meanwhile, Percy was delivering his trucks to the smelter's yard. He was looking forward to meet Ari and Bert. He remembered what they had done to Thomas and Emily, so he wanted to pay them back. Percy greeted them by whistling, but Ari and Bert only laughed. Call this a whistle, huh? Listen to this! Percy was frightened. He had decided to pay them back. On his way back, he practiced his whistle. He was to pick up more trucks, and on his way to Knapford, he blew his whistle loud and loud. Next time he met them, he blew his whistle so loud that this time it were Ari and Bert who got frightened. I told you, my whistle is as good as your weak old horns, he said. Percy puffed away. Now he had a new, loud whistle. Percy couldn't wait to use it for the next time. Then he saw Bertie. Percy blew his whistle, and that made Bertie jump, and he got stuck in the snow. "Percy!" he called, but Percy was too far away to hear him. Then Percy saw Thomas. Percy blew his whistle, and that made Thomas jump. "Oops, sorry," said Percy, but Thomas was cross. "Now thanks a lot. I damaged my trucks." That evening, Thomas arrived at Tidmouth Sheds and was very mad at Percy. "Bertie got stuck in the snow, and I damaged my trucks," he said sternly. Then the Fat Controller arrived. "Percy, I have heard that Bertie the bus got stuck in the snow, and all because of you, because you blew whistle at him. You must stop it," he announced sternly. "Yes, sir," said Percy. "Now I don't want to hear it any more time." "Excuse me," said Thomas, "but Percy even made me jump. I bumped into my trucks because Percy scared me by his whistle." "Is it true?" "That's it, Percy. Tomorrow you will take a train from the dairy." The next morning Percy collected milk from the dairy, and he wanted to blow his whistle one more time. "Boy, I do wish I could blow my whistle again," he said. Percy thought there was no one around, but he was wrong. Trevor was on a hill nearby, and Percy blew his whistle, and that made Trevor jump. He bumped into a log, and the snow started to stop the log. There was a big snowball. Percy saw the snowball and wanted to reverse, but it was too late. Percy was stuck in the snow. His driver had gone for help, and Percy waited. Soon Thomas arrived with Judy and Jerome and the Fat Controller. "Percy, whistles are for protection only, not for playing games." "Yes, sir, I'm sorry, sir. Now Thomas will have to take your train for you." "I hope, yes, sir. I hope you're satisfied with yourself." The Fat Controller told Thomas to take Percy's train. Percy was very ashamed. Thomas was helping to pull the trucks away. Later, Percy had decided to be very quiet indeed, and not use his whistle one more time. Then he came out of a tunnel and saw a big snowdrift on the line in front of him, and he heard an engine coming. It was Thomas, and he was heading for the snowdrift. Percy blew his whistle very loud. "Something must be wrong," said Thomas, and he applied his brakes, and just in time. "Wow, Percy, you saved me!" "Oh, it was nothing, but I guess I'm in trouble now." "What for? You saved me." "Yes, but I blew my whistle once again loudly. The Fat Controller told me that I can't." No, this time it was an emergency. You saved me, Percy." Later, the Fat Controller came to see Percy. "Well done, Percy. I'm very proud of you for your heroic action. Tomorrow, you will pull the passenger train with Gordon, because no bus service are now run, so the passengers will travel by trains only. I am very proud with you that you have learned your lesson." Percy was pleased, but not Gordon. He didn't want to work with such a small engine. "Percy is very small. He hasn't pulled a passenger train for a very long time. He would only slow me down." "No, he wouldn't," said Thomas, "and I don't think he would slow you down." But there was another reason why Gordon didn't want to work with Percy. The next morning, Percy and Gordon went to the shunting yard to fetch their coaches. Percy was very excited, but Gordon wasn't. "Careful, Percy, you pushed your coaches hardly. You're supposed to couple smoothly." "Haha, at least I'm not too lazy to fetch my own coaches." "Watch me," said Gordon, and he backed up smoothly to his coaches. Percy was very angry. "Very smoothly," said the yard manager. "The smoothest coupling I've ever seen." Gordon was very proud. He and Percy went to the platform. There were plenty of passengers. "Look at all these passengers," said Percy, and he blew a steam The passengers were angry. "Percy, why is there smoke coming out of your cylinder?" "Oh, that isn't smoke, it's steam. Steam from the steamed clams we're having. Don't you guys mean steamed hams? That's what I call hamburgers." "No, Percy, you don't. It's not a regional dialect," said Gordon. "Watch me." Percy was very upset. Gordon was pulling his train and Percy was pulling his. He was very unsatisfied with Gordon. He couldn't wait to show him how smoothly and carefully he can pull his passenger train. Gordon and Percy met each other at Crosby Station. Percy stopped smoothly and let out a steam. "You have already learned something, Percy," said Gordon, "but you're still not doing it properly. Watch me." Gordon carefully let his passengers in, and when they were in, Percy took off. "He thinks I don't know how to pull passenger train. Well, I certainly do. I haven't pulled passenger trains for years, but it doesn't mean I don't know how to do it." Gordon wanted to show off in front of Toby, but he didn't care a bit really. Then Gordon saw James at Wellsworth Station, but James didn't care either how Gordon can smoothly go. Then Gordon ran into a big snowdrift. Gordon felt very humiliated indeed. Thomas had passed Marin Station and he had seen Gordon stuck in the snow, and when Thomas saw Percy, he told him. Percy had to laugh. Gordon thought Percy doesn't know how to pull passengers, but at least Percy didn't get stuck in the snow. Percy was very excited. While Gordon's passengers had to walk through the snow, Percy's passengers arrived safely on the platform. The Fat Controller arrived. "Gordon, I asked you to teach Percy not to show off in front of the other engines," he said sternly. Gordon felt embarrassed. "I'm sorry, sir. I just didn't want to pull the passenger train with Percy because of what? If it is because of Percy's whistle, then don't worry, Gordon. Percy has already learned his lesson about blowing his whistle too loudly, and he will never blow his whistle loudly unless it's an emergency. Is it now clear to you, Gordon?" asked the Fat Controller. "Yes, sir. I understand it." "Good," said the Fat Controller. "Edward is coming to help you." "Thanks goodness," said Gordon. He felt very embarrassed. Percy had already left and was on his way to Vickerstown. Gordon was ashamed. "Now, Edward is coming to help you, so please don't show off any more, okay? Percy will not embarrass you." Edward arrived to pull Gordon and his coaches out. "Thank you, Edward," said Gordon. "It's nice of you." "You're welcome," said Edward. And Edward pulled Gordon out of the snowdrift. Percy had already been on his way to Vickerstown, while Gordon was delayed. Percy was very proud. He knows better than Gordon. Later, Gordon and Percy met at Vickerstown Station. Gordon remembered how he got stuck in the snow. He didn't want to risk it again. "You go first, Percy," he said. "Okay," said Percy, and he went off first. That evening, Gordon, Percy and Thomas met at Tidmouth Sheds. "Percy, you are a very good concurrent. I'm sorry I teased you." "Oh, it's okay," said Percy. "We hope you guys enjoyed Thomas the Tank Engine. Now everyone have a Merry Christmas!"
Thomas has got the biggest smile. You could hear his whistle from 100 miles. Emily's really heaving snow. She's laughing with the children in the Christmas glow. Hooray! It's Christmas time, all down the line. Train whistles blow as all the Christmas bells chime. It's Christmas time.